As a companion piece to our previous video on personalization, for this one we're going to be discussing how customization impacts a game design and kind of the right and wrong ways of doing it. Now, per the last video, customization refers to allowing the player to make choices that directly impact the gameplay itself. And one of the big things we've seen, especially over the last decade or so in the AAA space, is giving the player more freedom of choice when it comes to skill trees, what items to pick up, randomly or procedurally generated loot, and you get the picture. But customization has been a major foundation of many RPGs and RPG-based designs, going as far back as the pen and paper style, to BioWare, to JRPGs, and so on and so forth. But it's important to understand just how much customization impacts the design and when it doesn't really involve the player's choice, or if it is considered a false choice. Now, at the high end of the scale, customization can be as simple as choosing what class you want a character to be. Fighter, mage, cleric, thief, and again, we can just keep going down the line. But many games will allow for deeper customization in terms of various skills you can choose from. And like I said a minute ago, one of the bigger trends, especially the AAA scene starting from the last decade, was having skill trees, or I should say quote-unquote skill trees in these titles. The reason why we use the air quotes there, or I guess my voice quotes for that one, is that customization involves the player actually making a choice. Meaning that if you're going to choose between one of two things, one of those is obviously not going to be a part of the equation. But many AAA games that try to have this faux customization will throw 2 to 3 different skill trees of various perks or abilities you can unlock, but the intent is that the player will eventually get everything. We see this in everything from Batman Arkham Knight, the Tomb Raider games, Horizon Zero Dawn, Assassin's Creed, and you get the picture. And the problem right here is that this is not an example of customization. Customization will only occur if the player actually has to make hard choices. Meaning if I take the enhanced jumping skill, I'm not going to be able to choose the enhanced running ability. But typically in a lot of these games, it's just a matter of what order do you become a badass, not having to choose between how you define your own badassitude, if we want to create a new word there. And it becomes very frustrating for a lot of these open world AAA games when they promote customization when it's not really a case. With that said though, let's load up some footage of a game I'm sure all of you know very well from this channel, and we'll talk more about how the customization really does elevate the design next. And now a quick shout out to the supporters over on patreon.com/GWBycer. The ARPG genre is a great example of how much customization adds to player choice and to game design. And this is of course Grim Dawn. And what you see here is one of the many different masteries or skill trees. The beauty about Grim Dawn from its design standpoint, like with other ARPG, is that this is built on hard choices. Once I choose a mastery, I can't go another route. I need to basically play with the cards that have been dealt. But I am free within each mastery to choose exactly how I want my character to be. And when you combine it with the second mastery, this adds a lot of depth to the choices. For this build, I'm running with kind of a strategy of close range melee backed up by an AoE explosion that occurs every time I take damage. But I could have just as well gone for a range-based build, throwing Molotov cocktails and stun caltrops to keep my enemies at bay. I could have also gone for a pure necromancer and build an undead army and use my flame powers to kind of supplement that. Again, I am free to choose whatever the heck I want for my character, but at the same time, my choices become locked. I can't do everything, nor can I get everything in the game. That's not the point. And another big reason for this is that these skills are unique. in the way that by going down these various skill trees, I'm not getting generic passive bonuses such as +2 health, +3 attack speed. I can now jump a little bit higher. Well, that's not in a Grim Dawn, but you get the picture. One of the things, again, that we see indicative of the AAA landscape is that all the various skills and perks and quirks you can get don't change how the game is played. They're not adding in brand new abilities for the most part. They're simply just adjusting stats. Increase my ability to avoid detection. Let me have my stealth kill trigger a little bit faster. And the ones that do impact the gameplay are so game-changing obvious that you wouldn't avoid them otherwise. Such as in a stealth-based game or a third-person stealth game like Batman the Arkham series, a perk that lets me take down enemies from further away. Of course, why wouldn't I get such a great skill when I need those abilities to make it easier to survive the stealth sections? But with a game like Grim Dawn, I am legitimately cutting out options. Either A, because they don't fit with my build, or B, because they belong to another mastery that I will never get. With this character right now, I am never going to get the Shaman's Totem buffs, or the bonuses to two-hand weaponry. There's never going to be a point that's going to happen. And that's alright, because I am playing with this build. And as anyone who's watched me play Grim Dawn or any of the ARPGs, you know we can spend a lot of time defining class builds. And the reason or the utility of having that diverse of options is where customization comes into play. On our previous video about personalization with XCOM and XCOM 2, there is customization along those lines. Each character not only gets put into a different mastery or profession, but then there are different skills within each profession that I can choose from. And again, at the end of the day, I can't choose everything. I can't be a gunslinger who also throws grenades, who also uses psychic powers, who also has that little drone that follows you around. And by having those hard choices, it not only leads to depth, but again, it gives you as a developer freedom to design very unique abilities. Because you know the player is not going to get everything. When we played Deep Sky Derelicts lately, that's another game that has these hard-coded choices, hard-coded, that's better, for what I can and can't do. Now, the game does allow you some variance or malleability based on the gear, but at the end of the day, you want gear that corresponds to your character. If I have a leader who has bonuses to mental-based cards or mental-based gear, then obviously that's where I want to push forward. But there's still freedom even with those restrictions in terms of what I can and can't do. So, with that said, to begin to wrap things up for today, customization is a powerful element in just about any abstracted-based game. We can even see some in action-based titles that allow you to choose various abilities to grow and things along those lines. But again, typically, the best examples of customization occur with an RPG layer to it, because you can then start to get very creative in terms of how you want skills to work, what kind of passives you can use. And to stay on passives for a second, again, with Grim Dawn and with other ARPGs, I can have very crazy passive abilities that you don't see in traditional AAA games. The ability that's letting me throw off those little fire explosions right now, that is a passive. What happened right there as the guy just basically killed himself attacking me. And again, being able to define and allow for these choices is a major part of this. Again, another good example is from CCG or TCG based design. You can have cards that have a crazy amount of abilities and unique features to them, but it's balanced or loosely balanced by the fact that the player can't take everything. Anyone who's played a CCG knows that there are deck limits, both in terms of the number of copies of a card, as well as just the size of the deck in general. When I play Gwen, for instance, I can't choose every gold that a faction has. That's not the point. It's about defining yourself with a limited set of options, but they are game-changing options that truly make a game customized or customizable. So with that said, to wrap things up, I'm going to throw, of course, a question I'm sure everyone knows. Can you think of games that do a really good job of customizing the player? And remember, again, customization is offering the player game-changing choices, not aesthetic. And before anyone says it down below, to make things interesting, you cannot use an ARPG as an example. So no Diablo, no Grim Dawn, no Titan Quest. Can you think of other genres or games that have done a good job along these lines? Let me know in the comments below, but thanks for watching today's video. Be sure to check back for daily discussions on design here, as well as on our Discord channel linked down below. But otherwise, be sure to come back for another discussion on game design here and on Game Wisdom, where we examine the art and science of games. Thank you so much for watching this video. If you enjoyed it, be sure to check back for our regular streaming, most nights at 9:30, 10 EST, and you'll find a schedule linked down below. For a collection of my writings as well as audio casts on design, you'll find that at game-wisdom.com. Be sure to follow me on Twitter at GWBycer. If you're interested in hanging out and talking about game design topics, we have a Discord channel with the basic tier open to everybody, and that is linked down below as well. If you'd like to support us on Patreon, it is at patreon.com/GWBycer. Your support can help to keep things going and growing, and you can earn rewards such as ad-free versions of our talks, votings for our specific Let's Plays and grab-bag streams, and more. But that's it for now. Thanks again for watching. I hope you come back for more great discussions on design here and on GameWisdom.com, where we examine the art and science of games.